Alright guys, Coach Brian back here at Minlax.com, ready to do our sidewall strings for the Moccasin Pocket. The previous video we learned how to do our top strings and our bottom strings. So I've had this pocket stretch in here for a couple minutes, just letting it kind of get nice and formed, and it's good to go. So we'll go ahead and pull that out, and so once we've got our stick here, we're going to go ahead and either put a ball in there with a butter knife, or we'll go ahead throw this pocket expander back in there. So again, we just want to have it form in our pocket. So we jam it in there, make sure it's nice and even. We don't want it pushing to the left or pushing to the right. And got that in there, get it nice and tight. We're going to go ahead, slide that through there, and we've got our pocket. That's where it's just going to sit. And again, this Moccasin Pocket's a little bit of an upgrade I've done, where I've installed the V through there to help channel the ball even a little bit more. That's not standard on the kit, but I do have instructions on how you can punch these in there any angle you want to really get that in there. I guess you could throw a U in through here if you wanted, but I don't think that's necessary. And again, the V isn't even necessary, but I got a little bored, wanted to throw some stuff in there. Same thing, we can also customize them like the Minlax ball hog. And so we'll get going doing our sidewalls. So we should have two 46-inch strings left over. We're going to go ahead and use those now. So we'll go ahead and throw a knot at the top. And again, if you got some bigger holes like I do on the stallion, you want to do a little bit of a variant on this knot. So again, I'm going to loop it around just like normal. Pull that through, but instead of tightening at this point, we're going to go ahead and loop it around one more time, and then pull it all tight. And again, if my fingers are clear, you'd be able to see that a lot better, but they're not, so you're just going to have to go with me. So, got that, and now we're just going to pull this all tight. I'll give us a nice big fat knot there. It's going to hold on the one side. And we'll go ahead and we'll grab our other string and we'll do the same thing there. And get my other string and we'll go ahead and tie that same knot. So I'm just going to kind of loop it over once, twist that through, and then we're going to bring that around again and pull tight. Make sure you jam the sections of the knot down onto themselves. That'll help really get that nice and secure so it's not going to get loose on you. And I like to leave as little bit of a tail as possible on the end, because nothing's worse than getting down to the bottom and being like an inch short and having like 2 inches hanging up here. You got to redo the whole thing. So go ahead and make a nice small tail there, get that good and tight, and we're ready to start. So for this head again, I've got these nice long channels here on the stallion. I want to make sure that my shooting string is pushed down as low as I want. Regular heads where you've got just regular holes there, that's not a worry. But because I've got this longer gap, I want to make sure this stays down low and not pulling up high like that. We're going to go ahead and throw this sidewall right on top of it. So I'm going to start here down low, bring that through, and we're going to go ahead and pull that snug. And we're going to loop again, and this time I'm going to go below it. So it's going to be just kind of like what we did with that top string, except I'm kind of doing it upside down. And once again that goes through, pull that, try not to tie everything else up like I just did. Getting sloppy, it's late. Alright, so we got that, and since I've got room, we're going to go ahead and loop that one more time, just to really get that nice and solid through there. Alright, so slide that in and pull that tight. And so now we've just filled up that whole space in there. This isn't going anywhere. I'm satisfied with that. So we'll pull that tight, get out any excess slack, and that side's ready to go. Now we'll grab our other string and we'll switch to the other side. Once again, I want to make sure my shooting string's down here pushed down low. Again, if it's going into a solid hole, not a big deal. I've got this huge gap, so it is kind of a big deal. So I'll come in through here, pull that through, and then once again, I'm just going to loop right below it, back into the hole, pull that part tight, and we go back through one more time. Out, and then we'll come down through here, once again, pull that nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. I'm happy with that. Alright, so that's where we should be right now. Top string's done, bottom string's done. Ball or the pocket stretcher's wedged in place, and we've got our sidewalls started up here at the top. So, here comes the easy part. Now we're just stringing. So, I'm going to come down. We'll go ahead, have you guys looking at the middle. I like to get a good bit of that tip melted down, probably a little bit more than this one. That makes it easier for going through the holes in the leather. If you need to, even just get it right there, a little bit of spit on there, it's going to slide through even better. So we're just going to start at the top and get that through. Sometimes just giving it a little bit of a twist will help slide through that hole in the leather. And get that on there, nice and snug. And then we're just going to loop this over, just like we're doing a piece of mesh, stringing that to the sidewall. There's just a little bit longer, maybe like you're doing a goalie stick, where you got it suspended in the middle. Or if you guys are familiar with stringing traditional stuff, maybe use some of the other Minlax tutorials, you know exactly what we're doing here. So again, we got that, and I'm going to come in down to my next hole here in the stallion on the sidewall. And again, I've got one of these big slots, and so rather than just have one knot in there where it can kind of slide, I'm going to go ahead and we'll just go and use this one twice. So finish that up, coming through here, and again, get that nice and snug going across. We don't want to pull too tight because that's going to change our pocket. We want to just no slack through there. And again, we can always come through later and do some editing. So we've got that, and with this head, all the holes on the leather are actually going to line up with holes down the sidewalls. If you've got a head with maybe an older one, I've got a couple Brian Warps that I love that are older than most kids that coach. You know, 5 or 6 holes down the side, so you're going to skip some of the holes in the leather. Just kind of line up as you go, see which holes you want to use, and we'll go from there. But again, this one takes all the holes, so we'll go ahead and use it. Again, feeding that through, get looped on the leather, coming around from behind, I'm going over my string there. Again, we want to keep this nice and consistent all the way down. Part of that's keep your tension even, and the rest of it is, you know, you got a good looking pocket, no sense getting this part sloppy. So we're going to finish that up, and I'm actually, as you guys can see, I'm going to go back into this long channel. Whoop. Now you can see it. That long hole there, we'll actually just go in and do a second one. So we'll just slide through there, bring it in from the back, and alright, we've got our first 2 ones done. And as you guys can see, we're starting to get this pocket down here on the side. So rather than cruise all the way down this side, I like to go back and forth on my mesh sticks, traditional, everything. Do a couple on one side, do a couple on the other. So that's what we're going to do. Again, we'll make sure that's nice and tight. Spin this, I guess, so you guys can see it, and that's so I can see it. And once again, coming in through the leather, you need to give that a little spin. That'll come. And again, sidewall or crosslace works fine. I really like a stiffer string, especially for these sidewalls when we have this kind of a gap. It's going to help keep that in one place rather than wiggling around a whole bunch. So if the string is kind of whippy or it feels like it's separated from the core, what you do, just snip both of the ends so you get loose ends. Well, I'm sorry, take that back. Have one end melted, like this end, start there, and then just kind of work that string down with the fingers and squeeze down. Don't push too tight or pull too fast, you'll get like a rope burn. But if there's any slack, you can start working that all the way through, bring it all the way down to the end, and then snip off that extra slack, and then melt it. And that'll get you a stiffer cord, and it's not going to bunch up on you. So, back to stringing. Again, more stringing tips are all found at minlax.com or on our YouTube channel at lacrossestringingvideos.com. So, we've got our first one there, so now we're going to go into this long hole on the side, just like we did on our on the opposite side. Get those out of the way for you. And it's just going to come around from the back. Kind of loop that there, spin that so you guys can see what we're doing. It's coming across. And I'm just going to go into the next hole in the leather. Again, every once in a while, get a little spit or a little bit of water on that tip, and it'll slide through that hole a lot easier. And we got that. So now we're going to come in from the back. Up there, and again, just kind of push on these a little bit. and make sure they're not wiggling around too much. If they're wiggling around a lot, not enough tension at all. If it's way too tight, then it's too much tension. Just kind of nice and even, and that's one of the reasons I like to go side to side and keep everything the same. And again, with the strikers in here, the colored little bits, you can count those if you need to. It really helps in the traditionals if you're first getting started with those. Keep everything nice and even. So we're going to keep going down into the next hole in our mesh, or the mesh, into the moccasin pocket, as it were. Leather mesh, I don't know. Come in there, and we're just going to keep repeating this process coming down. So come back, around to there again, check that tension, not too tight, not too loose, just right. I guess that'd be the mama bear of tension, not baby bear, papa bear. So, come in, and our next one, we'll do another one on this side, and then go back to the other side. Alright, again, keeping that tension nice and even through there. Now we'll swap over this side. And keep going. Alright. So it's just the same process. Hole in the plastic to the hole in the leather. Again, if you guys have some different heads, maybe some different sidewall hole options, not a problem at all to skip some of these holes in the leather. Just make sure you're keeping a mirror image on both sides. And sometimes stringing these on here, it's a new pocket, no idea. You might need to do it once or twice, or at least your sidewalls, once you get your top string and bottom string in place. And just kind of get an idea. Maybe you want a little more retention up top, a little less. You got a lot of options on these. Again, really easy to work with, and also as far as putting in the V shooters and stuff like that, lots of options through there. Additional shooting strings really aren't needed because we do have this gold string coming across the top. That gives us all the tension we need for our release. Alright, so keep plodding away here. Again, I want to keep making sure this stuff's all even, same distance on one side as it is on the other. Once you do it for a while, you can kind of see it by eye. Until then, definitely use the string with the strikers in it. It's a lot easier. And you can get some cool looks too. Alright, so keep that up. Again, checking that tension through there. None of those should wiggle more than the others. If they do, that's a problem. Alright, so with that, go ahead, do another couple over here. And again, just kind of keeping it even. Do a couple on one side, couple on the other side. Alright. And as you'll notice with the packaging, we have a couple different styles of Moccasin Pocket. This is the standard that I'm stringing here. It's a standard oil tan leather, so it's really going to be much more impervious to water, even than the regular Minlax leathers that are treated, and they're much more impervious to water than regular leathers out there. But the traditional leathers we have are the veg tan leathers, so it's a vegetable tanning process. That does allow some moisture to still get in there. But these Moccasin Pockets, it's a different leather. It's oil tanned, and so it's really impervious, or just kind of full of oil, and it's not going to let really any water seep in there. Do one more on this side, and then catch up the other. But I did a couple tests as far as water was concerned, and took a 3.5 gram piece of the veg tan leather, which is what's used for, oops, see, look at that, talking about stuff and I got all goofed up. So I'll go ahead and do this right and get back to what I was talking about. So again, with the waterproofing on it, much better with this stuff. I took a 3.4 gram piece of the veg tan leather, which is what we use on the traditional pockets from Minlax, and about a I think it was a 3.1 gram piece of this oil tan leather from the Moccasin Pockets. Dipped both of them in water for about 5 Mississippi count, shook off the excess water, and then weighed them. The veg tan leather for the traditional, regular leathers, as expected, picked up a lot of water weight. It went up from 3.4 grams to, I believe it was 4.9. So, you know, 1.5 grams added water weight. And yeah, okay, 1.5 grams, not like a ton, but that is adding weight to it, so that's, you know, water getting in there absorbing, it's going to affect your play a little bit. This oil tan leather, It went from, again, I think it was a 3.1, 3.2 starting out, but it only picked up 1/10 of a gram. So significantly less than the veg tan leather. So rain and snow, not an issue. Well, I guess snow could be an issue, but that's something totally separate. Alright, so now I need to catch up on my other side here. Get that going. And again, keep these tensions nice and even. None of them should wiggle more than the other. So now we'll get going over here and get all caught up. And the pocket might look a little intimidating starting out, as far as, you know, if you haven't done like the Iroquois top string before, or it's more of like a suspended pocket, sort of how we have almost floating here, or like maybe you're doing mesh on a goalie stick, and it's not going to be strung all the way to the sides. You're going to have it kind of floating here in the middle, or a suspended pocket, kind of one of the terms we use. Not that big a deal at all, especially with one of these pocket stretchers in there, or the ball in place. I mean, you're really just kind of, this is more weaving than anything else. Just getting that in place. And once again, having a good plastic having a good melted down tip on the end of your string is going to help getting it through that nylon hole, or excuse me, getting it through the leather hole. It's getting late, goofing up some words. Alright. So, cruising along, and again, want to make sure everything's staying nice and even through here, get a nice aerial view, make sure one side isn't puffed out more than the other, and we'll keep going. Whoop, caught my ball, there we go. Alright, so pulling through, and we'll do one more, and that'll get us even with our other side. Again, keep those tensions equal. We're not going to have one that's a lot more than the other. One thing you do want to watch out for on these Moccasin pockets, they're really not pocket pounder friendly. That's going to be a lot of tension you're going to be putting on these leathers, certainly more than a pass you're going to be catching on a routine basis. But the bright side is these are already broken in. Being the oil tan leather anyway, it's a softer leather, get a nice soft feel, and I mean, you're already installing a preformed pocket. So that's really not an issue at all. But yeah, I would certainly avoid pocket pounder, and or if you got to use a pocket pounder, just don't go all out on it. Alright, so we're getting nice and even here. And as you can see, we're going to start battling the stem for the pocket expander, or if you got a ball and a butter knife, you're going to be hitting that too. So we're just going to try our best and work around it, and then at the last possible second, we'll pull it out. Alright, so I guess I can spin this around so you guys can see. It's tutorial for you, not me. I already know what I'm doing. So once again, kind of moisten up a little bit. It's going to slide that hole better. Pull that guy through there. Coming in and around from the back. And it's going to go in our sidewall hole. And it'll hang out there because our pocket pounder's in the way. Or our pocket expander. Do the same over here on this side. Come back through. Into our hole here. And get this nice and even. And if these strings get twisted up, just kind of spin them around a little bit. That's going to pull that out of there. But you don't want them too spun because you might get some tension that's different than the others. You want to keep everything nice and even, like a mirror image of stuff. Now I'll try and slide in there, and once again, the pocket expander is getting in the way. So we'll come through our plastic, and we'll get that guy going. Alright, so at this point, pocket expander is going to have to go, and I should probably raise up our platform here. So now we can get a better idea of what we're doing. And we'll back up so we're in focus. That's looking better. So, time to pull this guy out of there. So get rid of that pocket expander for now. Probably keep it close by, we'll get back to it. But now you've got your pocket. The important thing now is that we're not going to really change this tension. Because we don't have that ball in there, so it's not forced out as much as possible. We got to be careful we don't over tighten here. So I'm actually kind of putting a hand inside here, kind of pushing that out, and I guess I can do it from the side you guys are seeing. So now we need to finish this part first off, coming around into that gap there. Alright. And again, I want to keep my hand in there. We'll try a ball. I'll make it easier. There we go. So, got my tension on there. And if I can find the string, There we go. And again, I don't want to pull that too tight right now. I want to keep this tension even. If I pull those really tight, that'll get all loose, and that's no good. Let's have to go back and do it again. So we got that. I just need to come in through this next hole here in the leather. So we're going to push that in, and for a moment, I'll pull that ball out of there so I can get the hole. And we're going to pull that through. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and then we can put the ball in there and kind of pull this segment tight. So, got that. On this side, go ahead, bring it through the leather. And twist it up, so I'm going to undo those little twists and kinks that get in there. Alright. And upon closer inspection, I goofed up this side. So, as you can see here, I went in from the back of the leather. I don't want to do that, so let's go in from the front. Again, it's getting kind of late. That's alright. Or maybe I was just testing you guys. Everybody at home who noticed that, I don't know, maybe you won a prize. Alright, so we'll back this out and do that properly. We'll go in from the front. Remember, keep these uniform. You could go in from the back, just make sure you're doing that from the top to the bottom. And so we got that through there. We just loop in our string from the back. We're not going to pull it super snug just yet, because we're going to get that ball in there before we adjust it. So both sides are kind of even, right in that same spot. We'll get our ball, wedge it in there, and now I'm going to check the tensions. So that feels pretty good. I haven't goofed anything up, didn't make these any looser, any more loose. I don't think any loosers are proper grammar. So we're going to come back through, in through our hole in the sidewall. Again, I'm keeping tension on this ball to kind of keep it in place. Keep that pocket forced out, otherwise the pocket's going to creep in on you. Not the end of the world, but then your pocket's going to be smaller than you intended. Alright, so we got this side. I'll spin around and do the other side. And once again, I just want to check my tensions here. Make sure that I haven't goofed up these going up. If they got really loose, that means this is too tight. So we'll back that out just a skosh. There we go. Now it's going to come in through the plastic. Get those kinks out of there. Bring it over. That's kind of hard to do, holding the ball in place. Alright. And once again we got that, make sure we haven't made those a little loose. So again, just kind of back that out a little bit. Alright. And it's ready to come in through this next hole. And if that ball's in the way, I'm just going to wiggle a little bit. I'll actually pull it out and go through this hole. Only a couple more to go, and then we're almost done. The nice thing about this is you get done with these sidewalls, and you don't have to tie shooters. You're good to go. These pockets are game ready. Again, you don't have to use that pocket pounder to break them in. They are ready to go. So we got that. I feel like I just pulled that a little snug. So we'll check. Back that out just a little bit. And once again, we're going to bring that over towards the front. Maybe. There it goes. Alright, that's good. We'll come back into the plastic. Alright, same thing. I'm just going to loop over it and pull down. Alright, now before we finish that up, we're going to move back to the other side and get this caught up. So I need to come into this hole in the leather. Once again, I'll pop that ball out of there to make it easier. Just going through the leather there and pulling it through. If you are skipping holes coming down here because you have less holes in the sidewall, or you just don't want to do as many as this, I would recommend making sure that you go, when we're looking at this seam right here on the fold, I'd really recommend attaching there and attaching down here at this point. It's really going to help anchor that pocket. If you are skipping any of these holes, or any of these holes, definitely want to pick up this one and get this one down here. It's going to help out. so we've got that. Go ahead and loop this over, and let me go ahead and throw the ball back in there. Make sure I haven't goofed up any of my tension. And we'll look on the side. That all seems the same. Alright, or you can also count those strikers, and that'll help you out. So, with that, bring this back through the hole in the plastic. Alright, twist that, get some of those kinks out of there. And looking good. This comes around from the back, comes towards us. And we're kind of pulling through there. Again, make sure you're not pulling this way to the left or way to the right. Keep that right in the middle, keep that tension nice and even through here. So, we've got one more hole on each side, and we're doing well. So we'll finish up over here. Again, going in from the front of the leather, as I goofed up earlier. Hopefully just the once. If you guys spot errors on people that know what they're doing as far as stringing, feel proud of yourself. I love doing that one. You see a cool picture of something, it's like, hey, they goofed that up there, haha. Alright, so now we're going to bring that around, let it sit down low, make sure you don't get that too tight, and again, before we tighten that, we'll want to throw the ball in there. Get this side ready, and then we'll throw that ball in there and tighten her up. Again, make sure you get all the twists out of the line, you don't want it to kink up on you. Alright, go ahead and bring that, through that part. Alright, and then we'll go ahead again, throw that ball in there, make sure that pocket's still where you want it. We haven't goofed up any of our tensions, nothing got weird on us. And we'll go ahead and bring this to our final hole here. So from the inside of the head, bring that string through, pull out, make sure you're keeping that tension in there, and just gonna bring that over, and there we go. Finish up this side once again, check that tension through here, nothing should wiggle more than the other, should all look kind of even. I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna repeat this kind of knot, but we're not looping to anything. So it's coming in the inside, and then coming over the top. Pull that down. Now here's where it gets kind of tricky. You want this part to be snug, but each time we pull that, you can notice this part here is pulling down. So we want to give just a little slack, so that's not going to pull down too much. And there we go. We can cinch that piece without getting this weird. And now we're just going to repeat again. So this is going to come from the inside, put that there, loop this through, and again, get that snug, but again, we want to make sure we're not pulling all this down, because that's going to goof everything up and ruin all of our hard work. So we get that where it's snug, alright, and we'll keep going. And what this is going to do is going to help keep that ball inside down here on the channel, just providing a little bit more girth. And again, if you get the bottom string on there properly, you don't have to worry about the ball popping out. It's one of the first questions I always get. No, the ball doesn't pop out. Alright, we got that. And then our last hole here on the side, we're just going to go in and tie off. If I can get in there. There we go. So we've got that. Go ahead and tie this off. Again, when we're tying these knots, we want to make sure we get that knot as close to the plastic as possible. That's going to keep it tight. And this is not the normal angle I use for tying knots, but it's probably better for you guys to see, so we'll go with it. Alright, and then just a real simple knot down here. We just want to make sure we get that nice and tight. All that slack through there. There we go. Alright, and now we need to do the same for the other side. But as you can start to see, it's, oh, I guess I can point to the right side. It's starting to come in here, and that's going to form just a little bit more of a ridge. It's going to help keep that ball in. And alright, so finished up over here. Let's get that ball in there just to make sure that tension's even. And I like the feel of that coming through there. We're looking good. So now we just need to come into the last hole down here. Oh, we can actually tighten that a little bit. There we go. So we're going to come from the inside of the plastic. Alright, loop that back around. Again, keeping that tension there, really jamming that ball in there. This is an easy part to kind of goof it up. And we've done all this hard work. It'd be a shame to screw it up now. But if we do, no big deal. We just do it over. And it's just more practice, and we're better the next time. Anytime we're stringing stuff, don't be afraid to fail. When I came up with this Moccasin Pocket, I had a lot of doubts. I spent a couple days doing research development on it, come up with different cuts of leather, where to cut it, where to stitch it, and but it really worked out. And there's been stuff I've tried in the past with traditional pockets that's failed miserably, and who knows, it might be a couple months down the line you're trying something new, and something from a previous screw-up might be just the thing you need. So never be afraid to make mistakes, just like on the field. Try something new, otherwise you're never going to get better. Alright, so we got that, and we're just going to finish up just like we did on the other side, where we're coming through, pulling that around, in through the front. And again, I'm keeping tension on there, and again, we're pulling these. We want to make sure we're not jerking everything down. So that'll goof it all up, and we work so hard. Alright. A couple more, and we are done. Just a couple minor adjustments, make sure that bottom string's where you want it, and that's it. Alright, so as you can see, we're down to one hole left here on the side. We'll go ahead, slide through there, and I'm going to tie off. Once again, this is such a weird angle to tie, but we'll go with it. Also, as I explained in some other stringing videos, I've got a little stand. It used to be I think a bedside table, like a little laptop table from IKEA. The top part broke off, and realized the bottom part was just the right diameter for the cross shaft. I cut one down kind of short and slid in there, and so this works great for freeing up my hands, so I don't have to hold the stick there. I would imagine a music stand from school would work probably just as well. Pull off the top part, and the shaft should slide right in there. But this works great. Hands-free stringing, it sits right there. Or you can think of it as magic. So we got that. Check this out. Get our ball in there, push it, and we can check the tension of our bottom strings. Slide back into camera so you can see it, since it is a tutorial. And so we're just getting a little loose there, a little loose on this side. So all we got to do is kind of even that out. So we're going to kind of pull from this middle section a little bit and get that through there. Real small adjustments is what we want to make. You don't want to pull down, you really want to pull across. We'll do the same thing. So we got that. Alright. And we can take some of that tension out with our knots on the bottom. And this doesn't have to be super tight, but you want it closer to tight than just kind of blowing in the breeze. So that's looking good there. So I just need to take that slack out and take this slack out. No big deal. We worked on that before with our bottom string. So let me go ahead and drop stuff on the floor and make some noise, and raise this up so you guys can see. Alright. So, like that, or I can just lower the camera. How about that? Ooh, that wasn't the answer. Okay, bear with me guys. Right at the end, we'll try and finish strong. Okay, so we got a little bit crooked. I'll try and compensate. And we just fell off the mount. What a time for a problem. Alright, so we'll keep going. I'm just going to kind of talk here and stall for a little bit. Try and fix my camera mount. And we'll go from there. So again, you can check everything out at minlax.com, or check out the stringing tutorial page. We've got all our videos up there. You can also check out lacrossestringingvideos.com. Go directly to the YouTube page. We've got a mobile device. We do have the free Minlax app. It's got all our stringing tutorials, a bunch of cool photos, traditional sticks, get some ideas, stuff you can do. And what else is on there? All the video guides as well, so you can check all that information. So we're set up here. I just need to take the tension out of these two strings. You can see we got it evened up in here. This one's not moving so much, but these two are. So that's pretty simple. We just need to take the slack and feed it through the bottom. So we've got these little coils down here. Just kind of ease those through, and you want to undo our knots that we did down here, and we'll just tighten this guy up. And then just tighten that knot back down. That's ready to go. We'll do the same for the other side. Pull that slack through, kind of bring it around. And this one, my knot was loose, so I can just kind of go ahead, tighten that down, and we're ready to go. So, as you guys can see, we've got a moccasin pocket. Again, all sorts of options. We can do naming in the middle. Obviously, we got the Minlax. Ball hog, a couple different styles. If you guys want to learn how to do the V's, putting those through there, real simple. Easy little leather tool. You just need to punch those holes, but I've got diagrams so you can go any kind of angle you want. This one really works well. But again, the standard pocket just shows up without it, and there we are. Just a regular pocket. Doesn't have that V installed. You really don't need it. We also got some more information in there, and Minlax sticker. Again, in the back of the pack, all the information you're going to need, links to the website, and the QR code there. You can scan that on your smartphone and go right to the website and going on this. Again, guys, thanks for checking this out. It's been fun helping you guys. So we got our Moccasin Pocket, and kind of show it off here, moving around, and I really don't know what that's showing off, what you guys can see, but the pocket works really well. And as you guys can see, it doesn't come out the bottom, I promise. Again, the stick's legal, the pocket's legal for youth and high school. Everything with college, I'm still working with. I haven't spoken to any college refs directly, but sent emails off. We've been in communication. Passes all the tests. Ball's going to fall at the top. It's in there. Coming out the bottom. Comes out the side. Also the new Goofy test in the back, where they're going to push the pocket down. Not a problem. Again, for face-offs, I had a couple guys asking me, best way to go for it is we're just going to kind of take a couple fingers here and kind of curl on the middle one like that, and just kind of push down. As you guys can see, the pocket kind of folds in on itself like that, and we can kind of just snug that in there, and that's legal for your face-offs. Ball's going to come in there, easily pop right back into place, you're good to go. What you don't want to do is jam it in all the way from the bottom here, and so where it kind of pops and folds in on itself. That's going to be a little more difficult, getting that ball back in there after the face-off. You'll need couple pops right there, and it's good to go. But I'd recommend, again, just kind of pushing right there on the top. It folds in on itself, right like that, and you're good to go for a face-off. And it pops back into place. So again, guys, thanks for checking out this Minlax tutorial for the Moccasin Pocket. This is Coach Brian. We'll see you next time.